Good evening. So I'm gonna have another stream on the what I did previously call some kind of doomsday simulator, but I think extinction risk, something to do with extinction risk might be a better term, because it's quite a well-known concept, is the extinction risk when it comes to this doomsday scenarios. Maybe, for example, in effective altruism circles, I think it's a known concept. Like, and with doomsday, if you used doomsday or something like that as some kind of term, then that might be, I think you might get some kind of intuition about being some kind of religious stuff, maybe, like I don't know, but I'm gonna use this term for now. And we are planning to do a website, and now we are sketching the website for, in order to make an application. Not sure if that is working actually. In order to make a grant application for the site. So what I'm gonna want to do is, in the website, I've taken here 16 by 9 canvas. So I want to try to get the proportions of the website correct, and I think I'm gonna remove like the top portion, because it's gonna be, if you're thinking about someone using a browser, someone using a computer, then the kind of like top of the screen is gonna be taken by the browser, this kind of like browser stuff. So that's gonna be out, and I think also that it's a good habit to leave also. See, actually, that we're using, yeah, it's a good habit to leave some empty space to the left and maybe to the right of the browser. So I'm gonna leave one. This is like a kind of 12 section grid. I think that's also like some kind of maybe commonplace with website, that you have this 12 like columns equal size, and that's how you use to divide the website in like horizontally. So I'm gonna use the leftmost portion to leave some empty space. Gonna take this out actually, and then I think I'm gonna use at least, now I'm thinking I'm gonna use 2 or 3 more columns for kind of like the, also I think I might have to leave out the bottom part also, because if we are thinking again about like 16 by 9 monitors, then the bottom is often used by the, how do you call that? Taskbar, yeah. So that's gonna take more space. And then if you have here, gonna have here, I'm gonna add here maybe one layer. So here, there's gonna be here, okay, let's just go. Here we have so here's gonna be just empty for and can I use maybe another color here. So this is gonna be now, I'm thinking, do I want to have here 2 or 3 for this? Let's see. I'm gonna need one more empty space here for some other stuff. And I'm gonna have here, this is gonna be here. So these are the kind of like values setting here. Then we can have over here like that could be the default. Like that. And I think like I'm gonna need these here. So this would like what this would do. I would say what I would call them is like text results. And I'm gonna get back spoon on what that means. And here I'm gonna have maybe this box here for So here can be input. Input explainer. And I'm actually gonna call this one. Be input setting for now. I'm gonna put something else there soon. So this one here is gonna be I think I actually put another one. So something like a results in logarithmic. So here we have so I think it might, okay, we could have here some kind of like start values. So these are I don't know if you could have some kind of input selections here as well. I'm gonna just put inputs question marks. But then it would be a little bit weird maybe to have inputs in both of these. If I would have like inputs in both of these, both at top and bottom, so I'm not sure if that would make a lot of sense, but I don't know, maybe just in general. So I have to have this empty spaces, so that means in bottom, because I want why I want to kind of like think about this empty spaces in top and bottom is because I would want the user to, or the average user to have the page so that they could see the whole page in one view, and that might be hard if if there isn't enough vertical space and I have to think about 16 by 9 screens, and I have to think about browsers and taskbars taking a lot of that space. And this could also, if I have this 12, this kind of like grid system, because I have to have the grid system at least horizontally, because that's also how the shiny they are shiny, like it's how you have to set the stuff there. So I have to have these 12 volumes for that, and I think it might help me to like plan the site also. Otherwise, if I also like take the width of this column and also use it as some kind of like height, or try to think of the site structure as these kind of boxes. So this whole area here would be settings. So what kind of settings do we have here? We have the timescale choice, like how far in the future do you want to like visualize the extinction risk, and it's kind of like what follows from the extinction risk. And I think that might be some kind of like a priority time scale, or like the most or priority like setting here, or the most important setting. And then like some kind of like comparisons. So I want the user to be able to have like a different, to be able to set like at least 2 different scenarios at the same time, so that they could compare changes in inputs here affect the results. So that might be a little bit tricky to fit in here, but I will have to like, I might have to like leave at least some space here, at least somehow like figure out how to like show that this is now in comparison to what you had before. Yeah. Oops. Okay. Yes. Thinking about what else. I think I have a list somewhere on what I want to have here. Can check here. Oh yeah. Well, this is at least like so I want to have the possibility for the user to leave like some kind of scenarios that they input, so that I would like to be able to like get from the users like what do they think are the most probable extinction risk probabilities over the time scales. So they would be used to I could like get some kind of like average estimates, maybe some kind of best guesses, because what I'm gonna use here as a default for the site, I think those might be like way off, and so actually yeah, I'm gonna put this here also now that other thing is that so extinction, so there can be like a total extinction, or there can be like a civilizational collapse where the people alive, because even if you call this some kind of extinction event, so it's a possibility that some people remain alive, and so people could choose here if they want to go to this collapse part, like how many people are gonna stay alive, and or what part of the population, and what kind of recovery rate does the population have. So then they could like that recovery could work as some kind of like utility measure, like how well we are gonna recover. But I'm gonna go for the main inputs now. So what we are doing here when we are using these boxes is gonna be, these are gonna be for different time scales. So we're gonna have a 10-year time scale, 100-year time scale, 1000 year, 10,000 year, like how many years into the future. And I think that and you can set the time scale here in the settings, so you could have like, but this could be like a default that we have until year 10,000. But if the user wants to set more, then we are gonna extend this space here, because we have this, we have here like these two empty kind of like spots. So we're gonna extend here, we can go like 100,000, 1 million and 10 million, and maybe even more. Like if there's gonna be more, then we're just gonna have like a scroll bar here in the bottom, like a horizontal scroll bar for the user to go down there. So let's get more into this now. So we're gonna take that out for now, and as I'm doing a kind of like I'm planning a kind of like a draft proposal. So I'm thinking that for the purpose of that draft, I'm gonna have here on the, I want to make a kind of presentation of this site so that it uses the site itself quite extensively. So I could have here some kind of like so the right hand side empty space is going to be used to so for presentation. Sundays and slides. Okay. I'm gonna take this. I have the input. Yeah, I'm gonna. So let's see how the inputs would go here. So yeah, we have those 10, 100,000, 10,000. So here we have the results in those time scales. So, and here I'm gonna use some kind of color coding. Let's turn this wheel. I'm not quite sure like what's the. I had some kind of idea that I want to maybe go from blue to, or maybe I want to go from like let's say that I want to use for the 10-year time scale, I want to use like purple color. I think that's a little bit bigger. So here, get here. Okay. And then I want to move. Yeah, not sure if this is like a, if this is distinct enough, but okay, let's start here. If we want to start from, yeah, we can start from this here with this one, and then we go this one. Yeah, these are, they're not showing like, and then I'm gonna like fill. Gonna fill up this here in between these areas. This. Something like this, but now it goes kind of like goes from this kind of purple to blue. I don't know. It's gonna be a little bit bigger scale, but now we could have the same. We have the same stuff in here, and now that we are using actual time scale, so all of these first values are gonna be like very punch. Okay, this can be a little bit more, or it's actually, yeah, it's the next one. Like this can be a little bit more here, but then we got this one. Because if we have a 10,000 year time scale, then the last one is gonna be that's gonna be like the total compared to over here where it's gonna like just a small part. So it looks more like this in reality, but because we want to set here it's kind of So now how do we go about this? Setting this. I think I can have another layer. So we're gonna have two kinds of, so the 10-year time scale, so it's gonna be like I'm gonna use that color, and we're gonna call this gonna zoom in a little bit maybe. So this could be 2025 to 2035, and here we have we actually have 2036 to 20. So here are some interesting choices that I have to make. So I'm thinking this is not like a 100-year interval, but it's like a 90-year interval that's feeding into this kind of that we look 100-year in the future. I think this maybe it will become clearer a little bit later here. So, and this would now go to 3025. I'm actually should be using these 6. Yeah, it's taking a little bit too much time now, so I'm not gonna focus now too much on I just want to get these inputs here as they should be, so that I can see whether the size is correct and if it's readable. So we're gonna have this kind of input here. So I'm thinking like how many decimal points do we want here? It's gonna be 1, 2, 3. It could be 4. So it's gonna 0 point something %. And we have the same thing here. And this should be a little bit lower here actually. So how do we use these then? So there's gonna be two types of I'm thinking like orange could be a nice color. So there's gonna be 2 types of inputs, and other ones are gonna be annual extinction probabilities over time, and so these are the orange ones, and these are the ones that you would be setting over here. Then there's gonna be I'm thinking like maybe using green colors for these, so we would have a maybe here, look, okay, like that green, but green, just green in general, be here. Like now using these 2 timescales here as an example. Okay. So are these inputs now like too small for to see what they are about? So the user has to be able to click these. And these would be just like a lot more maybe these kind of points, and then you're gonna like draw the line between points, something like that. So these will match whatever is here. I think I'm gonna thinking about how do I that's the best way. There's some kind of color picking tool here, so I'm gonna what's this now? Okay, yeah, I think this is gonna work. Okay, so think about this text here. Because over here I want to have some kind of explanation for the input here. Let's say like we have the orange selection here, so between years extinction so there's a risk. I wonder if like a risk, if you have a risk yeah, let's say like extinction risk. don't know, annually. And then we have another one which is for the green one, so by year extinction. It's like by year and between years probability. So I would have some kind of I don't know, does it work? Because I want to make the connection here that when I say years here, then it refers to these years here that are selected, and then there's this extinction risk. It also has to connect to that one. So I wonder if like we have like having this kind of I'm just trying to like think about myself, like if I was using this on my computer now, like would it be too much? Would it be too difficult to like how readable is this if I had this? I can have this a little bit bigger because my screen is, yeah, I could quite well, like it's gonna be like, this is what it's gonna look like for me. I think that could be okay. It's it's possible to get all the relevant results here shown. I'm thinking like, could there even be I'm also thinking like, is this like too much space for the settings? Like I could add here like empty space to the left if this is too much. But I don't know. It would be nice if I could have a lot of these settings, so that, because I was thinking about using this kind of accordion mode for this, so it would make it easy to hide some of the options and choose like what you are showing at any point. But so maybe there would be that enough that you are only seeing if I have here like 4 setting objects, but I think I want to have more than 4. But especially if there's many of those setting modes, then it's you maybe want to focus that it's possible to see one mode at all times and not focus so much on but yeah, but now that if we have so much space here, it could be possible that you could, I don't know, maybe it would be a stretch to have all of those to have all of the settings visible at the same time, but maybe if we can get close to that, that would be nice. And it's not impossible to have all, it depends on how much of this do I have and how complex they are. So here on the right, I've been thinking about like how, because if I want to make a kind of PowerPoint presentation of this in such a manner that it would also be easy to update that presentation, then it would be nice that I could do a lot of the work here for the presentation here in Krita, and maybe also if I could do here the text thing. So what that means is that how could I get like actual text stuff here on the right? So let's see, let's try to make a layer. Take you out. I think here you can add I'm thinking like is it the paint layer or is it some kind of else, or I don't really know what vectors are. It's like file layer. What does that mean? Because I'm thinking like could it be like a text? could it be like a text layer? I'm not gonna try to do that. Mask. Let's just see like what can we do with the paint layer. Because there's this text object here, so how do I even add it? Okay, can I? Okay, this is not text object. So here, do I have to? How do I add the text? I think I have written here before. Do I need this kind of? Let's see what happens with the vector layer. If I add a vector layer, where's this text thing going? Okay, here at least I can manage to get a. So now we have here placeholder text. Just make so if we have it closed now, we can I make it bigger? Like how can I change the size? Like I can change the size by changing the text here, but I don't think that's really what. Well, I can get to edit it there, so I'm gonna make it bigger. Save. Okay, that makes it a little bit bigger. So with the size here, I'm thinking like what's the max size? Save here. So if it would be like something like that, and okay. And then what's the SVG? Okay, yeah, that just looks. So what is the different text for slide 1, but that's no, I cannot. Maybe, yeah, I cannot use it on a vector layer, but I wonder if I can actually add here. Can I add here the text actually? Or do I need this kind of box? How can I? Maybe it is the vector. Maybe it's to do with the vector layer that I have to have the vector layer for the text. No, I don't think that's it either. Okay, it's just like that. I'm gonna try again. Just so bad. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna go back to paint layer and we're gonna try. Let's do this. Yeah, I think that works. I don't need the vector layer itself. No. Close. Or what is it? Did it actually make a vector? Maybe. If I do this and I add here, yeah, it makes a vector layer. So the vector layer is actually needed. So I'm gonna take those out. So now, so what I'm thinking is, I should have these kind of groups. Weak group. Oh, I don't want to do that. So to add another add group layer. So one group, so this would be the group for slide 1. And I have here the text for, how do I? Okay, I think now it's part of the group, so we're gonna try to make this. Oh, you cannot actually see this layer stuff, so I'm gonna, so this one, so for each group we then need to have both the drawings and the text. I'm just like, yeah, you can draw. I think it might become necessary to draw some kind of, if I have here this, if I have some text here and I want to emphasize something in the text, like I'm talking about these time scales here in the text, so I could draw an arrow here, or maybe through here to the time scales. But for example, this kind of arrow things and a lot of this other stuff, it will only work, or it's gonna be hard to make changes if or there's gonna be a lot of work to make changes if I'm gonna change the composition I have here, or the setting of this on how this these are set on the screen. So I think that's maybe some kind of like first decision to make, so that I'm gonna be I'm gonna know what I want here. I'm gonna actually stop the stream here. I think I'm gonna stream again sometime soon, but